We're all ready to go to bed. So I get in the tent and I look out the pup tent and I say, Roy, there's just one thing. What am I going to do with my leg? He walks up and he said, no problem. Puts it over his shoulder and he trots right up to the plane. He puts the leg up and the tennis shoe and the leg right against the windshield, the nylon and jean dangling down. And he came back and he said, that'll be fine. Next morning, the pilots are going back and forth to the hangar, and we overheard two pilots say, boy, does that woman ever have stamina.
Wow. Great story. Oh, so you continued on
Yep.
despite all of this,
Yes.
and then began writing books.
Right? And then the new book came out, the third book,
Okay.
and it's titled Women of a Certain Age. And people ask me, how did you come up with that idea? What? And I said, you know what happened? When I turned 70 9 years ago, I suddenly started fearing age. And I thought, I've always relished life. I never considered age something to fear. And I had dealt with cancer, amputation, divorce, financial problems. I thought, hey, I had paid my dues.
Right.
And it's a lot more to take me down than aging, I thought. Or would it? Then I wondered how I was going to manage the demands of aging while sustaining the same upbeat attitude that I've always had and that's kept me motivated throughout these many years. I wondered about other women of a certain age and what paths they're taking and how they're managing their own changing tides. So I invited ordinary women with extraordinary stories to get real about aging, to talk honestly about how they're dealing with their own fears and what they've lived and what they've learned living through them. With wit, humor, and staunch frankness, these women explain, discuss, call out, examine what aging now means to them and how they have negotiated and continue to negotiate the dynamic currents of aging. Their experiences are classic and engaging, and their individual voices distinct and rich. And they dish out what they wish someone had told them about the process. Some of the questions I asked them, I think they were pretty provocative to sort of, get their minds going. And when I sent out the saying, would you like to be in this book and write a little narrative? Here's some of the questions to think about. You don't have to answer them all. One of them was, what scares you about getting older? Worried about losing your money, your looks, your marbles?
That might be
How
one.
do you view? You should have heard the jaw-dropping responses. How do you view yourself now? Do you view yourself beautiful? Did you ever feel beautiful? And how do you maintain your beauty? Plastic surgery. Your friends try to convince you to have plastic surgery? One of the girls wrote, nip and tucks? Hell yes. Another question, what will be your legacy? What are your fears? What was your biggest physical challenge? How did you cope, accept, or did you? If you're married or in a relationship, how do you keep love alive? And what is your biggest what has been your biggest risk? And then the chapter titles, they too sort of got the girls going. And one chapter was titled Face in the Mirror.
Mm.
And that the only person that can make you feel less beautiful is the person looking in the mirror. I can't worry about that. I was in Costa Rica and came to the pool and whipped off my bathing suit cover up, and people were kind of looking, gawking. I did my laps, right? I don't swim in circles either. So anyway, doing my laps back and forth, and when I finished, I got at the end of the pool, I splashed up, and I looked at them all, and I said, I bet you thought I was a mermaid. Am I not getting their cheering? And you know something? I think I probably am a mermaid because I do not fear deep depths. I do fear shallow living.
And I think that I would have to ask you that all those questions that you asked all these ladies to answer, did you also answer all those questions, or were they just ones that you kind of proposed to them?
I just kind of proposed to them. I thought, let them answer them.
I think that's cheating, Lenor.
Made it a little easier for me because my narrative, if you've read the book, is different. You know, I was writing about my discoveries.
Right.
Time. And another chapter that really got some response, it was titled Seduction. So I'm writing my part, and I called my daughters and I said, Daniela, Christiana, what do you think about this? Mom's writing about seduction. And I started reading and they go, Mother, too much information.
Well, you can understand that from a child's perspective.
And then another chapter is surviving loss. And one gal wrote, I thought this was incredible. She said she had lost her husband. She said, don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
Well, that's tough. That's a tough one.
Tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough one. That I can listen to and say, yeah, that makes sense. But it's tough to, if you're in the moment, that's tough.
Very tough, very tough.
Yeah.
But it touched me. I thought, okay, smile. Okay, they were here. You loved them and everything, and don't cry. Try and remember what was.
Right. Yeah, here's one from Melinda. Melinda discovered that when you change the way you see things, the things you are looking at change. I thought
Absolutely.
That was good. Yeah, and I do think that's good.
I like what she said, too, very much so. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question.
This is Doug.
I'm listening to you, and I did read your reviews, and I think you should be very, very proud of them. We talked about them a little bit before you were on the air. I think that's great. A lot of people are enjoying it. But me as a guy, why should I go spend my money? What am I going to take away from this book?
You know what you're going to take away?
Yes.
A lot of answers to maybe some of the fears your wife or partner is going through.
Well, the one thing that you said is that really interests me is that am I going to lose my marbles?
It might be too late.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. That might be past tense. How do you get your marbles back?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then we have.
I wanted to mention too. I don't know if I wrote about this, that when I had written the personal stories and anecdotes of my own discoveries, and some are serious, inspirational, illuminating. Others are outrageous, foolish, awkward, and funny. And our stories together, the girls and my stories together, powerfully impart what it means to possess a certain comfort, a certain sensuality, a certain persona, not despite, but precisely because of the experience of growing older.
That's nice. That's very nice.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess the other question that I have for you is, you do speaking engagements in different localities, correct?
Correct.
And how did you begin that? How did, a lot of authors that are out there, they have their books, they feel like they want to share it, and they do have something to share. They have a story, but they don't always have the connections. Is it all about connections, or is there a way that you found that, maybe is a little bit different?
Well, it's a lot of connections, but most authors don't have connections, especially
Right.
when they write their first book or whatever.
Right.
Fortunately, did with my brother. But then the ensuing books, like now, I have a publisher, but no agent.
Right.
But how I started lecturing is because of the topic of my story. For instance, the Cancer Crusades of America. Well, they wanted to have me on. So
Right.
the first entree, and I did all of those all over the nation. Then the orthotics. Then the university started calling. And religious shows. I'm telling you, I even did Tammy Baker and all through the interview. So that's how I did it. And then from one another, would you speak here? Would you speak here? Etc.
And were they always paid speaking engagements, or did you sometimes do them where you weren't paid?
Sometimes I didn't. Absolutely.
Okay. And I think that's important for authors to understand. Sometimes you have to do it for free, which then gets you that gig that, is a paying gig. So. And
then it's word of mouth, then inevitably you're somewhere else and it happens.
That's it. That's it.
We were in Costa Rica one time and we met a man and his wife, and he was from Australia. And we started talking and I said, yeah, I was an author, and this was with my second book. And he said, well, I'm the head of the University of Sydney, and we have a cancer institute. Would you like to come to Australia and talk?
Heck yeah.
I always say that.
Lenor, I want to thank you so much. I'm sorry we had the problems we did, but we loved having you on. We'll have to have you back. And make sure you get Lenor's book on Amazon.com or go to LenorChappell.com, LenorChappell. And thank you again.
Thank you.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult and trying personal problems every day on my TV show, but there's one problem that's just got me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. That's 1 in 5 kids who may not know where their next meal is coming from, despite the fact that there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food out there to feed them all. Now, I don't know about you, but that is unacceptable to me. Luckily, the Feeding America network of good people is out there collecting surplus food and giving hope to hungry children and their families at local food banks all across the country. But let's face it, they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin. UVB rays burn. And both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
This is America Matters Media Radio, heard worldwide on the web at americamatters.us and on KCKQ 1180 AM, Reno.
USA Radio News with Tim Berg.
The FBI is confirming the body found in Wyoming is Gabby Petito. A body fitting Petito's description was found on Sunday in a camping area near Grand Teton National Park. The FBI noting the coroner's initial determination for her death is homicide. Her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, is a person of interest in her disappearance, and the FBI executed a search warrant at his family home as agents look for him. Democratic congressional leaders on Monday rolled out a plan that will attach the debt limit extension to legislation funding the government. Republican Senator from Utah, Mitt Romney, not a fan of this idea.
A single Republican vote on spending measures, but they think we should have to raise the debt limit for them. That's not something we're going to do. If they're going to spend all the money on their own, then they're going to pay for it on their own.
This is USA Radio News.
2 straws, 1 check. It must be date night. If you've logged onto social media in the last few weeks, you're sure to have seen fans of the chart-topping hit by Walker Hayes doing the fancy-like dance at Applebee's restaurants across the country. Inspired by the song's chorus, the restaurant is bringing back the Oreo cookie shake. So now fans can have their very own fancy-like date night with a Bourbon Street steak with the Oreo shake. Country singer turned TikTok sensation, Walker Hayes.
My wife Lainey and I have always gone to Applebee's for date night, and it's a great spot to stop with the kids while we're on tour. So I've always thought it'd be fun to write a song about it, and it's been so great to see the response to the song and people doing the dance on social media. Now, to top it off, Applebee's has brought back their Oreo cookie shake so everyone can celebrate just like my song. What's better than that, y'all?
To find your local restaurant for a fancy-like date night, visit applebees.com/restaurants.
The man accused of staging a deadly shooting spree in a Minnesota health clinic is expected to appear in court Tuesday. Gregory Ulrich is charged with second-degree murder, attempted murder, and setting off explosive devices for what he's accused of doing northwest of Minneapolis. Prosecutors say the 68-year-old defendant shot 5 workers at a clinic in Buffalo back in February. The Biden administration is announcing a new policy regarding travel to the United States.
The United States will put out the welcome mat in November to air travelers from 33 countries, including China, India, Brazil, and most of Europe, who are fully vaccinated against COVID-19. The decision announced by the White House Coronavirus Response Coordinator, Jeff Zients, marked an abrupt shift from President Biden's stand last week that said it was not the right time to lift any restrictions amid rising COVID-19 cases. From the West Coast USA Radio News Bureau, I'm Lance Pry.
This is USA Radio News.
Hi, I'm Wayne Alaroot. If you like my radio show, you're going to love my podcast, War Raw. Each podcast, I present my top 10 most outrageous, salacious, and controversial stories of the week. I break down the best of the best raw truth stories for conservatives, libertarians, patriots, taxpayers, Trumpers, and deplorables. Anyone who appreciates God, guns, gold, and tax cuts will stand up and cheer for War Raw. Check out this week's War Raw podcast right now. It's available to download in iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever you listen to podcasts. War Raw. War Raw.
California Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff is holding a press conference on the reintroduction of the Protecting Our Democracy Act. Schiff saying the bill will limit the power of the president.
The Protecting Our Democracy Act, a landmark package of sweeping democratic reforms, will, among many other things, prevent future presidential abuses of power, restore our system of checks and balances, and protect our elections from foreign interference.
Among other things, the bill will also prohibit self-pardons by the president and suspend the statute of limitations for any federal offense committed by a sitting president or vice president. The House is still debating a $3.5 trillion budget package that Democrats are calling human infrastructure. Paired with it is a John Lewis Voting Rights Act, which includes Democrats' election reform policies. Senate Minority Leader and Kentucky Republican Senator Mitch McConnell warns of the consequences he claims will come with the bill.
It still makes Washington bureaucrats the de facto board of elections for all 50 states, dictating the terms of things like automatic and same-day voter registration. It still insists on impeding state efforts to ensure integrity of voter rolls through popular common-sense voter ID measures. It still has government dollars going directly to politicians' campaigns.
Democrats argue states like Georgia, Texas, and Florida are enacting stricter voting laws, which justifies their election reform bill. For USA Radio News, I'm Tim Berg.
The following is an America Matters media production. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the station or its advertisers, although we think they should. But that's the opinion of America Matters Media.
Now she's gone like a riddle in a song.
Welcome to What's the Story? My name is Janice Hermsen, and this is our second hour.
That picked him up, didn't it?
I don't know if it did or not. You know, Ed's over here being a low energy fella.
Well, I was going to say that,
I know you're down. I get it.
Very, very interesting guest and storyline, but like not one I have a bunch in common with.
Plus, it's hard listening to your voice like that.
You don't like the strain in it?
That'll lower your energy.
Might be.
Oh, it does. No, it does. You know, me being on the air for all these years, I know when I would go in and I couldn't use my voice or hear my right voice, it would affect me. I think that's what's happening, Ed. Let's just accept that.
She's giving you excuses. She likes you.
I do.
You know what? I need all the help I can get.
It's a good thing she likes you.
Yeah. Well, my mic's still working, right?
It is. It's good to know that.
Yeah.
He's the proverbial cough button, isn't he?
I think so. No, she was a great guest, and I think that I know that it's hard for a man to relate to a book like this because obviously it's all about women, and I think that her comment that if you want to know where your significant other is at this point in time or whatever, I do think that that's probably a good thing to look at. Why doesn't it work?
Well, I'll tell you what. Where your significant other is at a given point in time, it changes day to day.
But this is helpful because there's 11 different women that wrote. That could be any one of those people. Right?
So there should be a counterpoint where a man writes the book of men who don't know about women of a certain age. Right? Some point counterpoint.
Maybe we'll write that book.
Right.
You want to write that book?
Right. Maybe Lenor can write that book then.
With your help.
No.
You can give her feedback.
Best I know, I wouldn't be help to anyone writing a book.
That would be interesting. Well, two things. Number one, women are complicated, so it's a great thing to have.
We're simple.
It's pretty general.
No, yeah, in general, they're very, very complicated.
Only because you try to figure us out.
To write a book, like that for a guy? No, guys are. You talk about simple.
That kind of statement just kind of says what it's all about with men. Yeah. All women.
So, Doug, I really didn't think you'd pile on the soccer mom, but yeah. Way to go.
That's funny.
See, he's back.
Yeah, there you go. That was
well,
much
right.
better.
So there's a contrary
He's
point
only
of view.
had a half of a banana nut muffin, so that's probably the problem. How much candy?
I just had the muffin top and about 3 pounds of chocolate.
Well,
I'm surprised you're not got more energy
you think
going
that'd
there.
Perk him up. Instead, it's kind of burdened him.
It seems like it. Maybe it was the muffin. It was probably the
water.
Muffin.
He's going.
Oh my goodness.
He still probably has a muffin in his mouth. That's why.
You're so nice. You're so nice. So I just learned something. I don't know if anybody else uses Proton Mail, but I was trying to log into my Proton Mail because I have some information in there I was going to share. And I'm on a different computer. And when you're on a different computer and you've already logged in as yourself on your own computer, you have to open up a private browser. Probably other people knew that, but I didn't know that, so I haven't been able to get in yet. So what can I say? So you have to. Proton Mail is a secure type of email. It's supposed to be encrypted and all those things. And it's not that I totally believe that, but on the off chance that it really is, it's nice to have a Proton Mail account.
Well, right.
Right?
You got to have a back door.
Yeah, there's a chance it's real. Although I recently heard that this is out of Switzerland, and I heard that they had some new privacy agreement that you had to sign that said something to the effect that they could either you could get reported or they could scan your email, and if you broke a law from Switzerland, I don't know, are they going to come over here and come and get me? I
Best I know, they might put you in one of those like bank boxes and keep you there for 500 years, right? I mean, isn't that what they're known for?
That's right. That might get ugly.
I'm thinking so too.
Ish. That doesn't sound so good to me.
Tom Hanks would find us and save us.
You think?
Yeah,
I don't
maybe.
know. I don't know. And now, of course, I can't remember my password.
Password under pressure.
Password under pressure.
Poise in the moment.
Incorrect login credentials. Yeah, because I have so many different emails and so many different passwords. I don't know.
Is this like reality radio today?
It is reality radio. I'm sorry. I need to get in here
We're
to
watching
see what
you. We're watching you on Facebook.
So
I can't help it.
I want to know the root cause of the word of the day.
Oh, I forgot about the word of the day. Yes.
So really, zedetic. Yeah, I can't pronounce it.
Minds want to know.
You know, that sounds like a medication.
Zetetic minds want to know.
So
you know what that means now? When you say zetetic minds want to know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Inquiring minds want to know.
No, it loses something.
It does, doesn't it? Can you imagine somebody saying that? Zetetic minds want to know.
So someone would say that if they didn't want you to know, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what these words are all about? Right?
Well,
nobody knows what that means.
So
nobody uses that word.
I like incorporating them into daily vernacular.
Well,
Try
but the good thing about
zetetic minds want to know.
No.
So it's
My daughter gave me that.
I was going to say we're all zetetic,
well,
right?
With a word like that.
Yes, we're all zetetic.
With a word like that, nobody's going to know what you're talking about, so put it in anywhere.
I like it. Well said, Doug. Wisdom of our author of the day.
Right. Proceeding by inquiry.
Yep.
Right? That pretty much fits everything I do. Right? Oh, what are we having for dinner? All right.
No, you have to answer that question.
What am I doing? Right, I do. Well, that's a question for my son.
Yep. All right. We will be right back. You are listening to What's the Story. We'll have more for you.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
So here's the choice. Some people say the USA is finished. It's evil, a has-been, full of hate and injustice. The U.S. Constitution should be trashed and the Bill of Rights abolished. No free speech, no gun ownership. Competition and free markets are bad. We're all too stupid. For our own good, the government must own everything and know all your secrets.
Other people say that America has created the freest, richest, happiest, most generous society that has ever existed in the world. That's why millions of people are desperate to come here and escape their brutal lives in Cuba, Venezuela, North Korea, and 100 other countries.
In America, we have the right to succeed, the right to our own living, the right to have a family, the right to believe in God, the right to have our own ideas, the right to be safe and secure, and the right to be left alone.
Where do you stand? Help us save the Constitution and restore the American dream. Go to SaveMyFreedom.com.
Brought to you by the American Media Council.
Hey, all you entrepreneurs out there. Whether you have a small business or work from home, LaRue Press offers a virtual office and business address for all your business needs. Located at 280 Gregg Street, Suite 10, LaRue Press is your personal assistant for friendly all-day service. Need a conference room to meet with clients? You got it. With LaRue Press, you also get phone answering service, mail forwarding, package pickup, and even help branding your business. Call LaRue Press at 849-3814 or go online to lrpnv.com.
This is America Matters Media on AM 1180 KCKQ, a Lotus broadcast station. The power of radio since 1967.
unable to listen to the whole show, a recording of today's program will be available later today. Visit americamatters.us and click on the podcast link. Now back to the show.
Welcome back. This is What's the Story? I am Janice Hermsen. We are in our second hour of the day and having a grand old time.
Yep.
Yes, and last week we talked, Ed and I, Doug was off and about being stuck in a hurricane.
Yes, isn't that amazing?
Yes,
what a good
it
excuse
is.
for not coming in.
I know.
Why aren't you coming in? Oh, it's the hurricane.
It's the smoke. It's the COVID. Doesn't matter.
Right? You saw that video,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
It's just a mask. It's just a
Yeah.
this. It's just that.
Yeah.
So, so we talked a little bit about things that people had responded to a question that I had about about what's going on.
Oh, what's going on in states?
Right, in different states. And so I asked folks to respond to me, and very kindly, many did. And we talked about different states across the country. Today, we have G.D. Fenderson, who is in Maryland. He is a comedian, and he's also somebody who's going to share his story with us. Come on the phone here, G.D. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going, Janice?
Oh, very well now. Now that you're here. I'm glad. Go ahead.
Is that Ed with you? I don't have video.
I am totally here, man.
How's it going? Oh, happy belated birthday.
Thank you very much.
And we also have Doug here with us.
Hi there.
Hello, Doug.
Hi.
Happy future birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he already had one, too.
Yep.
His was the day after Ed's. How about that?
You're the 23rd?
19th.
19th, yeah, I'm the 20th. Well,
yeah.
So
we're gonna say that maybe he's lost his mind.
okay,
We don't know.
marbles.
Marbles.
And
That's it.
can we? Is there a third way we can say that?
losing your marbles.
Oh no, your birthday was a day after mine.
Yeah.
No, just play it.
This is like me being under you on this show.
Hold it, let me throw something.
GD, you got him going. You never should have started him off.
Here we get a good guest coming on, and he comes alive.
So fire away, my friend. First of all, tell our audience a little bit about you.
Well, I am a professional comedian out of Maryland, although I don't call myself a comedian. I professionally refer to myself as a certified forensic humorist only because I don't just do stand-up. I do whatever it takes to make people laugh and keep my clothes on.
There you go. Perfect. All right, but what we were talking about, you and I, was really not a laughing matter so much, right?
Well, I'm sorry, but yes, I made quite a few COVID jokes, and to this day, yes, some people think I'm morbid, but yes.
I think COVID's open game. I mean, they've shut down everything you can make fun
That's
of
right.
except COVID and red bricks and right round rocks.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's test this. We're supposed to have a new employee start with us last week, 2 weeks ago, and he died of COVID just last week. And so I went into the office, and they gave a lot of us, because we knew her, she was just coming from another department. They gave us the option of coming to work or going to her funeral. And if we just went into her funeral, we just called in sick and we wouldn't be penalized. And so I went into the office and I said to them, just so you know, I'm not going to the funeral, but in the event that I die, we'll need some more time off then.
Nice.
And
Did anybody laugh?
they said, yes. He said, we'll see about that when the time comes.
Oh, my. Well, it's nice that he
And
has a sense
so-
of humor.
Yes. And I said to him, I said, well, some people would rather die than work with me. And,
Or you could be saying they're dying to work with you.
Except for if they do that, they don't get to work with me.
Most of them say, "Oh, that's killing me."
I'm telling you. What have you done?
So the next thing is, right, how many kids are going to be named COVID?
Oh, no.
Right? That's coming. That's coming, too.
Well, in America, we just can't name them COVID. We'd have to name them COVID with a Q, or maybe a silent R in the middle.
Right.
Or maybe
and call them China for a nickname.
Yeah.
That's just
or Delta.
Yeah.
And
Delta.
Or put three.
I like Delta. Yeah.
Yeah, put 3 or 4 letters on the end of it, like they do in French that you can't pronounce, so you just don't. There'll be a lot of children named Delta variant. Or what's the?
They have Mu now, don't they? Mu, M-U, or something.
Yeah,
the Mu virus.
They're up to new. I think they're up to new and Mu.
Yes.
Well,
so is that like the Moo, but it's a Moo or New Moo?
When I was a kid, most kids in my neighborhood learned their Greek alphabets from fraternities. Now we're going to learn them from hurricanes and pandemics.
Yes, you're correct. I'm not sure why they did that, but okay.
If you've been making fun of COVID, have you had a call from the government yet? I'm surprised.
No. Well, I got my call from the government years ago when I was a peaceful demonstrator, and that's one thing that did not go well for me. This was back during the Iraq War, the second one. Yes, I got into all kinds of trouble for that one. Phones, no-fly list.
So how's the right? I got to tell you, I hate Zoom. Right, just hate it. I'll be looking at stuff and I go, man, there's something I'm interested in. I'll watch it. Zoom, and I won't watch it. Are you in front of folks face to face?
Sort of.
Yeah, I'm doing live shows. I've only done one Zoom show in the past year, and that was as a favor to a friend of mine. He literally requested me. Other than that, I don't do Zoom shows.
Did you during COVID?
Even during COVID, it was fewer and far between. And here's the rub. If you really want to do a show back then, before they had a lot of the solutions to the problem, or at least a lot of the recommended solutions, like we had masking. We did have masks. We didn't have a vaccine on the horizon. So any place you went probably had high cases of COVID, which meant you really don't want to go there. But they were the ones saying, "Come on in, come on in."
Always, right? It's always the ones with the stuff.
Right. Everybody, the sensible places were going like, "No, we closed down our comedy shows. You can't come in." But then there were places like in the South were going, "Come on in, come, we're open, come." So I didn't. I only slowed down as to where I went. I mean, I wore my mask. I was sensible. I stayed away from people, and since for the most part I'm antisocial anyway, I don't go around canoodling with people after.
I'm gonna say that works for me, man. I'm digging that.
Yeah, I mean, after the shows, there were a lot of comedians like to hang out and drink and smoke weed and stuff, and I'm more like, thanks. I have a wife. I'll go home. I'll go back to the hotel and call my wife on the phone, let her know I'm okay. But if y'all want to come up to my room afterwards, no. But I'm not going out with you guys. Just coming up to my room. No, I'm just.
So you must have. I really enjoyed a little bit of traveling I did, because you don't see anybody in the hotels, right? You're in. They don't change your towels, right? Everyone's avoiding you. I mean, that might have been a good hotel stay for you, being antisocial.
In the beginning, it was. But my last time out, I was in Ohio. And I don't want to mention the hotel by name because I'm not sure I remember it now. I think it was the Ramada Inn, but I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, still call you and complain.
Yeah.
But they were taking in people who didn't have homes, I think it was. They were like people who needed places to stay because of the COVID. They didn't have like their homes or something. And so the hotel was filled with people who have no hotel etiquette. And they don't, people don't realize that we have, even though there's no law that says that, you know, when you're in an elevator, you don't pass gas. There's no law against it, but there's etiquette. There are rules for a reason. It's so that we can all survive peacefully.
Yeah, but you didn't have to pay them for the material.
No, I just had to hold my breath if I made it out of the elevator in time.
Wow.
I mean, they were running. Oh, yeah, the kid. Oh, they had no hotel etiquette. And being and you travel a little bit. You probably stayed at a few hotels. You understand there's unwritten rules as to how you behave in a hotel. You know that at 2 a.m. your TV should be off or down. I don't need to hear your television or your music at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, because I have to get up. I mean, I just got to bed around 1. I just got to bed like 2 o'clock. The hotel was quiet, at least I thought. And so my head hit the pillow, and I could hear the music down the hall. I'm like, oh, my goodness. And I open the door, and the kids are running up and down the hall and screaming at each other. And instead of using the phones to talk to each other, they're opening the doors and yelling up and down the halls to each other.
Wow.
It's like, I don't want to hear your conversation. Pick up the phone. That's why we had Alexander Graham Bell. You know, I mean, that's the very reason we had telephones.
Best I can tell, they were excited, right? They were excited like Christmas, right? I mean, you're right. Hotels are supposed to be quiet unless there's like a wedding party and everyone's staying there. You get what you get with that kind of stuff.
And when it's a wedding party, you can always sneak in and enjoy some of the fun. When
That's
right. Family,
you can always get a bite to eat or a cocktail.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a family. They immediately know you don't belong. They're like, excuse me, who are you?
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to have to take a break here. We're going to be back in just a few minutes, and we are going to talk a little bit about what it's like in Maryland.
Hi, this is Eddie Floyd. Let me tell you about my favorite non-profit public charity, Wainema Wild Horse Sanctuary, located on the Forsyth Ranch in Hallelujah Junction area. And please go to www.wainemaranch.com. That's WYNEMA ranch.com.
In northern Nevada, there's a one-of-a-kind home that provides temporary overnight lodging when veterans or family members are receiving medical care in the Reno area, some from hundreds of miles away. Too often, overnight accommodations are a financial and logistical challenge. Stephanie Tanksley and her husband are veterans who come for treatment from Bishop, California.
We were lucky enough to be connected to the guest house so that I could stay for 10 nights when my husband was in the hospital. So I was able to visit him every day. It was just a blessing.
Veterans Guest House is privately supported by individual and community donations from people like you who recognize our responsibility to support our heroes. And no government money is received for day-to-day operation of the house.
Please support this organization. The Veterans Guest House is an amazing resource for veterans. Supporting this organization is one of the best ways that you can donate your time and your money just to help our veterans and their families.
Find out how you can help at veteransguesthouse.org.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but Miss Araceli, she gave me direction.
At age 47, Marco finished his high school diploma.
50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
This overload.
Shannon Lawson here. Join us for the Nevada Radio Roundup, Fridays at 2 p.m. A good news variety show all about the local scene. The Nevada Roundup, Friday at 2.
Are you shy and don't want to talk on the air? Text us your questions or comments to 775-237-2266. Now back to the show.
The attitude is still more cavalier than you would expect.
Right.
Or we would expect, rather.
And you work
like
in. Don't tell us where you work because I don't want you to do that. But tell us the type of environment you're in and the size of the company, like the numbers in the company.
Okay, I work in a publishing warehouse, and we have about 1,300 employees.
Okay, so it's not a small place.
No.
Either that or it's real crowded.
Yes. Well, it makes we should all carpool, but
that would be fun.
Yeah, we have 3 shifts, so the building is always open. So it's not like we can have one shift and close it down and sanitize for the next shift or something.
Right.
We're always open.
So I guess
we're 7-Eleven.
Under those circumstances, I guess my question would be: you're saying people are kind of cavalier. Do you feel like in the beginning it was probably pretty scary, but now that it's been around a while, do you kind of feel like people have learned to adjust and manage better?
We have basically 3 groups of people where I work. The majority, the vast majority are doing or wearing masks and doing what they need to do because we have to do it to work there. We have to wear masks or be vaccinated. We have to be vaccinated or wear masks. Now, in my case, I wear masks anyway because I have bad allergies, and I work in a warehouse, and for some reason, warehouses collect dust. I don't even know why that's a rule, but they do. So we have to wear masks or be vaccinated to come to work. For a while, there were people who refused to wear masks and was just taking vacation days until the vacation ran out. It's like, no, I'm not wearing a mask. This wasn't even before the vaccine. This is like, no, I'm not wearing a mask. I just won't come to work. And so they would just use up as much vacation and sick days as they had, and then they'd come back and wear the mask.
But they were making a statement, which I think. Yeah. I think that they obviously believed it.
Right. Now, I'm trying to keep politics out of it, but that is how the way we work. That it just happens to fall along political lines as well.
Right. That's
who's
very
wearing
true.
a mask,
Yep.
who wants to be vaccinated, and who's using what information to make their decision. It's going along party lines. I hate to say that, but pretty much it is.
It was really interesting last week when we were doing some analysis and kind of stumbled across that, right, there's total politics, but folks that are, say, pro-choice or mask mandators, right? And I would have thought that the opposite would have been true, right? And so what we believe are political lines don't always play out in real life.
Right.
Well, that's true. Now, but also you see the people wearing, not wanting to wear a mask or get vaccinated, having signs that says "My body, my choice," which is straight from.
Well, right, they're opposite. Yeah.
Don't you
straight
find
from the pro-choice playbook?
Right.
Right.
Don't you find that people are suffering from COVID burnout now, and they're just tuning it all out?
It's not the COVID burnout. It's the equivalent of, it's like severe cabin fever. Okay, nobody wants to be cooped up and be denied their rights or their privileges or what they perceive to be their freedom. Okay, I didn't mind. I loved COVID, to be honest, because I'm not. I like having excuses not to go to things. I enjoyed it. Okay, and plus and my job never shut down because we were essential workers. So I had like the best of both worlds where I was fully employed. And I go to work and I come home and my wife and I could say, do we want to visit anybody? No, we're happy. Can we play Scrabble? Sure, let's play Scrabble. Can we watch a movie? Let's watch a movie. We were happy. I mean, I'm going to be really upset when this whole COVID thing is over and I have to start interacting with people on a regular basis again.
Best I know, you don't have to. You can whip out that card and use it. Right? Yeah, you'll be able to use that COVID card for like 5 years.
You know what I think? I'm going to start wearing my welding mask.
Oh, those are ineffectual.
I'm going to make a variant. Since most people are ignorant and don't pay attention to the news anyway, I'm going to make up my own variant.
I love that.
Speaking of making up your own news, I saw this Sunday. It was like, what's the gal on CBS? Cheryl somebody. She does a.
I'm trying to remember.
You know what I mean?
Name.
Anyway,
yeah.
It was on, and it was a small town in Kansas, and it was about COVID deaths versus are they real COVID deaths? And this gal was the coroner in this small little town, and there was a murder-suicide. And they both tested positive for COVID and went down as COVID deaths.
Yeah.
And this was a Kansas thing, whatever county, and it seemed like they had around 9,000 deaths, and she went through and basically said about 5,000 of them are probably COVID.
Wow.
And said, so she was looking at her area saying that half of reported COVID deaths in this part of Kansas were not COVID. And that was big news. That's like Main Street media.
Well,
go ahead, GD, go ahead.
I remember that story, and the shootings were actually by their dog, COVID, who accidentally stepped on the gun. So that's why it was put down as a COVID-related death, because their dog's name is COVID.
So
and that's
now,
I remember that one.
Okay, I got a story that you have to use, right? I actually have a real-life relative that fell on her dog and crushed it, right? It's along the same lines as that COVID shooter there.
Oh, man. A crushed dog?
It happened. So that was back in the days before wireless phones, right? The cord phones. And it was a cousin of mine, and she wasn't always like thin as a rail.
You know.
And she got up and just tripped in the wires and crushed her dog.
Oh. You know how statistically, I wonder how often that happens.
And that dog probably went down as a COVID death.
Probably, yeah.
Now, I'm thinking that, when people started getting bookcases and children were trying to climb up on them, and the bookcases would fall over. So now we have these little tethers at the top of bookcases. When you buy a bookcase, it's sold with a tether.
Yep.
Right.
So I'm thinking your cousin should have had one of those tethers to protect that dog, so that in the event that she falls over.
Yeah, well, we can always learn from our past behavior.
Yeah. So you can give out tethers to your plus-size family at Christmas or next holiday. Yeah.
Wow, you new products too, man.
So I'm going to tell you, man.
Variants and new products.
I'm going to tell you what, man. My family I grew up in Southern Ohio. They would love that. That would be the most awesome gift ever, right? I mean, my birthday just happened. I got football socks and hair care products, right? I mean,
all right, so I'm going to ask you one of the questions before we run out of this segment's time. Are your hospitals overrun?
No, they're not. We are very good. We are probably in the upper 50% pile of success, so to speak, if you want to put it that way. Mm-hmm. Our hospitals, let's see, we have 11 pediatric patients in the hospitals currently. Our ICUs are at 24% capacity. 24% occupied.
Wow,
we have
that's low.
Yeah, 825 COVID patients in the regular wing, and the 24% in the ICU. So,
well, can you see the administrator of a hospital sitting there and say, "God, man, our hospital, we don't have many people here, and the government's giving out money if we fill it up. Gee, what should we do?"
So, GD, I'm sorry. I was going to say, are they are regular things happening? Are people getting heart stents?
I want you to answer that after the break because we're getting ready to have to take one here. So go ahead and hang on to that question. That was a good question. And you are listening to What's the Story? We're talking to G.D. Fenderson, a certified forensic humorist, and we will be back with him in just a few moments.
Have you, a friend, or family member been diagnosed with cancer? Dr. Forsyth at the Forsyth Cancer Care Center offers an all-inclusive program to treat adult types of cancer. The Forsyth Immune Protocol Cancer Treatment Plan, in a current prospective study of over 6.5 years and 1,200 adult cancer patients, has produced a remarkable 30 times greater survival statistic when compared to conventional full-dose chemotherapy. Greater than 95% of all their patients choose low-dose insulin-potentiated life chemotherapy, using only 10 to 15% chemotherapy dosing with insulin. Dr. Forsyth has long been considered one of the most respected physicians in the United States, particularly for his treatment of cancer and the legal use of human growth hormone. Located in Reno, Nevada, Dr. Forsyth has seen patients from all over the world. To schedule your consultation today, call 775-827-0707. That number again is 775-827-0707.
1 in 3 adults in America have prediabetes, but most don't know it. To let people know it can be reversed before it becomes type 2 diabetes, professional basketball player Julius Randle is doing everything in reverse.
I'm only dunking with reverse windmills. I drove the whole way to practice in reverse. I don't recommend it. This move's called the reverse shuffle. I do recommend it. And it took me months to learn how to speak in reverse, like this. Here's 10 almost for diabetes type 2 with living Ben has mom my. In other words, my mom has been living with type 2 diabetes for almost 10 years. So together, we want to say to the 84 million Americans at risk, exercise and healthy eating can help reverse prediabetes. Start by taking a simple 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Bet he can't say that in reverse.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. I'm here to warn you about telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Some of these scammers may say threatening things like you will be arrested if you don't make payments or provide personal information. Do not fall for these tricks. These calls are not from us. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you for information or money. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Never give the caller your personal information, like your Social Security number or bank account, or send money in any form, cash, gift cards, wire transfers, or prepaid debit cards. Report the call to our law enforcement arm, the Office of the Inspector General, at oig.ssa.gov. Share this information with your friends and family.
Hi, Lady J here for the Smooth Ride Home. Join me each weekday from 5 to 6 for smooth jazz and hot hits to get you home safe and sound. Right here on 1060 KFOY and online 24 hours a day at americamatters.us.
Now she's gone like a...
To join the conversation, call 844-790-TALK. That's 844-790-8255. Now back to the show.
Welcome back. This is What's the Story? I'm Janice Hermsen. Glad you hung in with us. And GD did as well, despite whatever might be out there, whatever variant might be lurking.
Right. Whatever the next generation of kids' names are coming.
Right. I love that. I love that idea that we're going to have all these children that are named funny things. Oh, man, I could talk about that, but I won't right now because I don't want to take up the time.
Save that for another show.
Oh, the 70s were horrible, right? With kids, what
well,
they did to
name
kids' names.
people have earth names, right?
Oh,
like Tree and Bush
and Prince whatever and
no. And people name their kids after like products.
Yes.
Right? Like, you know, with a different GD was right with like a different letter or something.
Right. Yeah. Okay, GD. So my next question, are you, and we don't have to get political on this, but are you worried about the 2022 election anomalies? Like, are you anticipating, because some people are saying, you know, I don't want to vote. I've had somebody tell me, I will not vote because of 2020. I'm not voting in 2022.
Oh, I took just the opposite. I'm going to vote 3 times.
All right, GD, where are you going with it?
Well, since there's a cash shortage, I can see a lot of people selling their votes.
There you go.
There's another skit. That's got to be awesome on that one. That's good because that's got to be happening anyway.
Well, in Maryland, we did have issues with voting, but it's not like what it was usually in like the minority areas, they would understaff or provide fewer machines than necessary. And I used to be an election judge, and that was my pet peeve as an election judge back then.
And GD, as somebody, I'm a nonpartisan. I'm willing to say that. And as I look at this as this is kind of the uniparty anyway. So does that come from both sides, do you think, or maybe coordinated from both sides, depending on who's running, and you know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna tell you now. I don't know which side did it, but I can tell you that neither side cared that it was happening.
That's what I thought.
That's kind of what's been going on for years, best I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, and case in point, we have a candidate who's about to run for governor now, because our governor cannot run for another term. He can only run for 2 consecutive terms.
Ship him out here. We'll use him. I like him.
So Hogan can't run again. Now, his lieutenant governor probably will run. And Maryland is a Democratic state. As population-wise, it's Democratic. But if you're a Republican governor running, the first thing you got to do is get a black lieutenant governor, because in Maryland, our biggest city is Baltimore, and if you get the black population voting for you, you win. And if they don't vote with you, or if they don't show up, you don't win. So in Maryland, you cater to, around election time anyway, you cater to the black population in the Baltimore area. Yeah,
So you personally, are you concerned about 2022, or kind of you're just going to go vote and come what be?
I will vote, and I will encourage everyone to vote, regardless of your party affiliation. The only way we're going to one of the ways we're going to get dark money out of our politics, if we, as a people, stand up and get the dark money out. And the way you do that is by just showing up and vote. Just scare the corruption out of the politicians by the people voting.
So, well, here's a proposal that was put out there through different places. We should just all vote on paper. Vote Amish. Vote on paper. What do you think?
Yeah, sure.
I think it's a great idea, and let the precincts count.
Yep. I mean, it works.
It works fine for hundreds of years.
Right.
It's KISS.
Well,
Keep it short and sweet.
And here's the deal. Let's just say that the elected officials say, well, yeah, but we have to use the machines. Fine. Let us count. And then you guys use your machines. Then we'll compare.
There you go. Yeah.
Right?
Do it
then we
both
don't have
ways.
to audit.
Yep.
We don't have to audit. It'll be done. Right?
We had an issue back when I was an election judge, where the machine was flipping votes. And we started flipping votes. And the election for comptroller was so close. It was inside the margin of error. And it was also inside, at least the machines and there was one machine in my precinct that was flipping votes. Another one already had votes on it when we started.
And you knew this and couldn't do anything about it.
Well, I printed out copies of paper copies of the results, and actually I called the newspaper, and they actually came there. They interviewed me. They looked at the evidence, and this was going to be like the next day's story. But another precinct stumped me because they had a fight and video.
And so that was better than your flipping vote story.
Right. And so,
well, right, anything featuring Lamar Jackson, right, in that space, man. You guys, right, man, football trumps all.
Yeah, so because there was a fight and they had video, it stumped me showing them that it was flipping flipping votes.
And was this on a lower level, like the lower level races? Or was this on
it was for state controller.
Oh, okay. So it was on a state level. That counts.
Yeah.
That counts a lot.
Yes. and our precinct, he only won our precinct by like 150 votes.
Yeah. Yeah, and
so
I've heard from people that ran here, some that ran independent, not this year, but in years past, that they had the same thing happen. They saw their votes being flipped, and they couldn't do anything about it. They'd report it, and everybody just kind of yawn and move on, right?
Well, in the case that we had, like I said, because I was an election judge, the voter came and got me. Now, I'm not allowed to look at your screen to see how you're voting.
Sure.
But I had to look at the screen to see what was going on. So I called the other judge over. Now, and the other judge says, we can't do this. We can't be looking at this. Says, we are here as witnesses, at the voter's request. We have to look at this. And if you don't want to, then fine. But I'm going to look at it. And whatever penalty I have to pay, I will pay it. We're going to figure this out. And she was voting for one person, and the other one would light up. And so we couldn't get it to change. And so I started messing with combinations. And if you cleared the vote and then voted for the third person, who in that case was William Donald Schaefer, if you voted for Schaefer and then changed your mind and then picked the one you wanted, your vote stayed. But that was the only way to do it. You had to pick the two main candidates. It was flipping there. If you picked one, it would show for the other.
I'm kind of speechless.
So
because
the things are
people are all running around saying there's no voter flipping. They're crazy. This isn't happening. It is happening.
So
and the average people are telling us it's happening.
The states have to tell the machine makers.
Paper ballot.
Right. I agree.
Because we didn't have a paper. We had a paper trail.
Right.
But the paper trail only tells you what the machine is counting.
Exactly.
And so if you had, like, where I live in Carroll County now, we have paper ballots. And you to get a paper ballot, you stick it in the machine, and if there's an issue, you can go and physically count the ballot. But I just say let's count the ballots. People have gotten the idea that they need instant results.
Right.
And if they don't get the results instantaneously, then the election is not real.
So no. That's not a people thing. That's a politician thing. They don't want to sit around for 5 days on their thumbs while they're waiting to see if they won or not. Right? I think that's more a politician thing than people will wait forever if it's right.
Yeah. And I hate to change the subject, but we only have a couple minutes, less than 2 minutes left. And GD, are you going to be playing anywhere soon? Got any gigs going on? Something you want to share with the audience?
I wish. I'm negotiating.
Okay.
That's all I can say right now.
That's all right. You hit us up with it. We'll talk about it. We'll put it out there because we want to help you get the word out.
Since the University of Maryland's in the Big Ten now, I figured you'd have all kinds of opportunities across the Midwest. Haven't you seen that commercial? You got, like, opportunities everywhere.
Oh, I wish, but I live in an area where there are like 5,000 comedians. Baltimore, Washington, Virginia area is like 5,000 comedians, of which maybe 1,000 are funny.
No, well, no. You just described Washington, D.C. Bunch of comedians.
Well, I'm including Washington also. I'm including 535 members of Congress and 9 members of the Supreme Court in that 5,000.
Well, they're tough to compete with. I'll give you that.
Well, we have enjoyed having this conversation with you, and thank you for sharing your humor. I will never forget that all those children that you're going to name.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to work on trying to negotiate naming rights for people.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'm going to become a naming rights broker.
There you have it. All right, new field of study there for people. Get your degree. All right. We will be back next week. You better be back with us. This is What's the Story? I'm Janice Hermsen, and these guys are pretty funny sometimes.
I know I need to pay attention to my health, but I just can't seem to find the time. Between rushing to work and taking care of the kids, there's not much time left over for me. So I decided to start small by eating more fruits and vegetables and being more active. And then I got the family to make some changes too.